What if making just one small adjustment to the way you water your plants could completely change the health and look of your garden? The truth is, most gardeners are unintentionally making at least one crucial mistake, whether that's watering at the wrong time of day or not delivering enough moisture to the root zone. These missteps often result in weaker plants, wasted water, and unnecessary frustration. The positive side? Correcting a few simple habits can dramatically improve growth, reduce disease problems, and even lower your water bills. In this video, we're going to walk through the 5 most important watering practices that every gardener should understand and apply. These techniques are based on research and practical experience, and they can have a direct impact on the long-term health of your plants. Let's begin with one of the most underrated factors: the timing of your watering schedule. Watering in the early morning is one of the most effective ways to strengthen plant health while conserving water. It's not just about fitting watering into your routine. Timing actually determines how much water your plants are able to use. If you water in the heat of the afternoon, when the sun is strongest, a significant portion of that moisture evaporates before it ever reaches the roots. In fact, studies show that as much as 1/3 of midday watering can be lost to evaporation. That means less water for your plants and more waste. On the other hand, evening watering, while convenient for many people, carries a different set of risks. When water sits on leaves and soil overnight while temperatures drop, it creates damp, humid conditions that encourage fungal diseases. Plants left wet in cool night air are particularly susceptible to problems like powdery mildew, which can spread quickly and damage an otherwise thriving garden. Morning watering solves both issues. By giving your plants water in the early hours, they receive the moisture right when they need it most, just as photosynthesis begins for the day. The soil has time to absorb water deeply, and any droplets left on foliage will dry off quickly as the sun rises. This small but important change not only ensures better hydration, but also minimizes disease risk. Simply shifting your watering routine to the morning can bring big rewards: healthier plants, fewer problems, and more efficient water use. Of course, timing isn't the only thing that matters. The way you water is equally critical. One of the most common mistakes is shallow, daily watering. It might look like your plants are getting enough, but in reality, this method only moistens the top layer of soil. Because water doesn't penetrate deeply, roots stay close to the surface where they dry out quickly and are more vulnerable to heat or drought stress. Shallow-rooted plants are also less stable and more easily damaged. Research consistently shows that deep, infrequent watering is far better. By soaking the soil until moisture reaches 6 to 8 inches down, you encourage roots to grow deeper into the ground. This allows plants to tap into underground moisture reserves during dry spells, making them stronger and more resilient. Even better, deep watering reduces the need for constant irrigation by up to 60% in some cases. That means less work for you and healthier plants overall. To make deep watering easier, tools like soaker hoses or drip irrigation systems are excellent options. A high-quality soaker hose provides even coverage, while drip systems deliver water slowly and directly to the root zone, reducing evaporation and runoff. These methods are especially valuable in heavy clay soils, where water needs time to absorb without pooling at the surface. By focusing on deep watering, you'll save water, encourage strong root systems, and create a more sustainable garden. Still, even with good timing and proper depth, watering success depends on understanding your soil type. Many gardeners overlook what's beneath their feet, yet soil composition determines how much water actually reaches your plants. For example, sandy soils, made up of large particles, drain very quickly. They can lose water within hours and hold only about 12% moisture at capacity. This means plants in sandy beds dry out faster and require more frequent watering. Clay soils are the opposite. With tiny, densely packed particles, clay holds onto water much longer, up to 40% moisture capacity. While this can be beneficial, it also means clay soils are prone to waterlogging if overwatered. Roots in waterlogged conditions may suffocate and eventually die. Striking the right balance between too much and too little is essential, and knowing your soil type is the first step. The easiest way to test your soil is with a quick squeeze test. Take a handful of moist soil and roll it between your fingers. Sandy soil crumbles and falls apart almost immediately. Silty soil feels smooth and silky, but only forms a weak ribbon before breaking. Clay soil, on the other hand, feels sticky and pliable, forming a flexible ribbon that holds its shape. By understanding what kind of soil you're working with, you can adapt your watering routine, whether that means increasing frequency for sandy beds or being cautious not to overwater clay-heavy areas. Another way to understand your soil is by observing drainage. After watering, watch how quickly the water disappears. Fast drainage usually means sandy soil, while slow absorption points to clay. For a more precise breakdown, a professional soil analysis can tell you the exact proportions of sand, silt, and clay in your garden. Once you know your soil type, you can adapt your watering strategy. Sandy beds need smaller amounts of water applied more frequently to maintain steady moisture, while clay-heavy soils benefit from slow, deep watering to prevent pooling and allow roots to breathe. When you combine the right timing, the right method, and an awareness of your soil type, watering becomes less of a chore and more of a powerful tool for building a healthier, more resilient garden. But soil isn't the only factor. How you deliver water to your plants is just as important. Many gardeners don't realize how much difference it makes whether you water overhead or directly at the roots. Overhead, methods like sprinklers may seem convenient, but they're often inefficient. When water lands on leaves rather than soil, much of it never reaches the roots where it's needed. Wet foliage can also stay damp for long periods, creating conditions where fungal diseases thrive. That's why root-focused watering is so effective. Since plants take up moisture through their roots, the best approach is to deliver water directly to the root zone. Drip irrigation and soaker hoses are two of the most reliable tools for this job. Drip systems release water slowly at the base of each plant, while soaker hoses seep evenly along their length. Both methods reduce evaporation and runoff while ensuring consistent hydration. Research shows drip irrigation can be up to 80% more efficient than sprinklers in delivering water to roots. Smart irrigation systems that use drip or soaker hoses can lower overall water use by 20 to 50% without sacrificing plant health. By avoiding wet leaves, you also reduce the likelihood of fungal problems like mildew. Another benefit of root-directed watering is fewer weeds. When the soil between plants stays dry, unwanted seedlings have a harder time establishing. Every drop goes toward your plant's growth instead of evaporating or feeding weeds. Even with the right tools, there's another mistake that often holds gardeners back: watering on a rigid schedule instead of responding to actual plant needs. Plants don't require water on the same day every week. Their needs shift depending on weather, soil conditions, and growth stage. Sticking to a strict routine can cause overwatering, which leads to root rot or underwatering, which stresses plants and leaves them vulnerable to disease. A better approach is to check the soil before watering. Probe 6 to 8 inches deep with your finger or a trowel to see if the root zone is still moist. For more accuracy, use a soil moisture meter. As a rule of thumb, if soil 2-3 inches below the surface feels dry, it's time to water. If it's still damp, wait another day before checking again. This hands-on method eliminates guesswork and avoids relying only on signs like wilting, which can be caused by both too much and too little water. Weather is another important guide. Hold off on watering if rain is in the forecast and let nature do the work. During hot, windy, or dry spells, plants lose water faster and may need more frequent care. In cooler or rainy periods, you can scale back or skip watering altogether. Young transplants will need closer attention, while established plants with deeper root systems often thrive with less frequent but deeper watering. By paying attention to soil conditions and weather patterns, you'll reduce waste while keeping your garden healthier. Switching to drip irrigation or soaker hoses can cut water use by up to 50% while increasing yields by as much as 20%. Try putting just one of these strategies into practice this week and observe how your garden responds. Share your results in the comments. Your experience may help other gardeners improve their own watering habits. Together, these small adjustments create a strong foundation for a thriving garden. Thanks for watching. If you found these tips useful, be sure to explore our other videos on plant care and garden success. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gardening advice. Your support means the world. Happy gardening, and we'll see you in the next video.